Hey, how's it going, everybody? Sarasota Tim. Thanks for joining me today, and I've got a good one for you. I've been out of the loop for a couple of days taking care of some business, but I thought, it's really time to talk about Social Security because I got my Social Security the other day. I got my new increase of 3.2%. I hope I don't spend it all in one spot, but I started thinking about the math, the numbers, and I was talking to a friend of mine, and he started collecting his at 62. I met somebody else that said they're going to wait until they're 67, till their full retirement age. And I started doing the math again, thinking about it. And I started figuring out some new things that I haven't talked about before that might help people that are contemplating on getting their Social Security at 62 or full retirement age. Now, of course, you can collect your Social Security at any age after 62. If you just want to wait another 6 months or even a year at 63, you would still get a little higher amount than you would at 62. If you wait from 62 till full retirement age, in general, it's about $600 based on the Social Security Administration. There are people out there that talk about, I get so much at 62 and I get thousands at my full retirement age. Don't listen to them, folks. I don't know how they're coming up with it. No matter what they get. Now, if they get thousands, like $3,000 a month at full retirement age, which is possible, because if you were a high earner all your life, it's based on your best 35 years. So if you were a super high earner and you contributed, there's actually a stop amount that they will take from your withholding if you made a bunch of money every year. If you made a couple of $300,000 a year most of your life, you don't just keep paying into Social Security. There's I think at 160 or 75,000, or I don't really know what it is, but there is a limit. If you make a lot of money, that they will stop contributing money into Social Security on you every year. So, but if you were one of those high earners, you could potentially receive, I've heard high numbers, $2,800 a month, $3,600 a month, something like that. But that's very few people, because the average earner in the United States as of 2023, I have it right here. In fact, I just looked up, I got all my new numbers for you guys. The average earner is it says the average earner makes 60 grand, 59,428. And the median average income, household income, is $70,784. So it's a difference of 10 grand. So if we split it down the middle, let's work with $65,000. That's a lot of money. I know a lot of people, and most of them don't make $65,000 a year. I know plenty of people that do. But, so that's why we have the average, because a lot of people make a lot of money, and that brings the average up. But the majority of the people don't make that much money. But never mind, we're going to work with whatever the average is. So we're talking about, in the beginning of the video, I said, I have friends that said, I'm going to get my Social Security at 62, or I'm already collecting it since I turned 62. And I've got other people I know that are past 62, and they're going to wait until they're 67. My full retirement age is 66 and 8 months. But if you were born after 1960, the new full retirement age is 67. I think they've even got a new number now where it's 67 and a half. They keep moving it up. But let's not get confused. So you say, all right, what's your point? The point is, you need to get your Social Security at 62. Nothing has changed. You get more money. And I've got new numbers here, folks. This is not the same old song. This is the 2024 new numbers about what you will collect. And more than what you'll collect, it's what you'll have. You'll have all this extra time and freedom from that prison job that you've been in all of your life, since probably high school. You've been working to make money. And now at 62, which is really too late in life, after 50, you're already past half of your life. So you're already over a decade, more than that, past the halfway point of your life. So you don't have much life left on average. And we're not going to go there and talk about the average lifespan and how people are passing away, even before they get their Social Security or a year after they get it. People are passing away with all kinds of diseases today, diabetes, and if they don't pass away, their quality of life just really goes to heck in a handbasket, because after 62, everything starts wearing out. You get bad hips, you get bad legs, you get bad knees, you have a stroke. You had a stroke at 40, and you're just getting weaker and weaker. Your mind attitude changes, and this $600 that you're looking to get by continuing to work and bringing on more of those diseases by being around people and things that can give you those things, wearing out your joints in your body if you have a laborious job, the stress at the job, the money you have to spend to go to the job, between your car, your lunch, your clothes, your insurance, the wear and tear, the maintenance. It costs money to work. Not just, you don't make money just from working. It costs money to go there. So anyway, let's get back to the deal. All right. The average Social Security check is $1,700. Just right about there, right what I'm getting. That's the average check. And so if it's $600 more you're going to get at full retirement age, that'd be $2,300. So I got some notes here. Follow along with me if you will. All right. At 62, I'm drawing $20,400 this year. Free money. My money that I paid in my Social Security based on my best 35 years, I'm going to get $20,400 this year. Now that's up a little bit because there was a cost of living raise. And last year, the year before last, I should say, was a big one, like $150 more a month. And there will continue to be, even though for the last 40 years they really haven't amounted to much, there will continue to be. But to keep this simple, let's say that this number is crystallized and there will not be an additional penny offered to me for the rest of my life. And we know there will. So just to keep this simple. So I'm getting $20,400 this year. Free money. I love it. And then they've raised it from last year to this year to where I can make my earnings cap is $22,320. And in the fifth year, when I become full retirement age, whatever, which is going to be 2025 for me, that goes up to $59,520. So let me make this real simple so I don't lose you. I'm getting $20,400 a year. In 5 years, I would have collected $102,000 free money from the Social Security Administration put in my bank if I didn't do anything. All right? And then because I can go out and earn $22,320 for the next 4 years, because I get a big bonus on the fifth year, on my full retirement age year, I can make an additional, if it didn't go up every year, and it went up $1,000 this year, earnings cap from last year. But if it didn't go up again, it was crystallized. The $22,320 that I can earn is $89,280. 90 grand. 90 grand plus $102 grand. And then on that fifth year, I could make $59,520, 60 grand. So if you take the 90 grand for 4 years that I can make on the earnings limit, you take the 60 grand I can make on the fifth year, the year I turn 67, full retirement age, and you take the $102,000 free money that I got for free without having to work for it, I would have $250,000, $250,800. All right? In 5 years, if you divide that by 5, that's $50,000 a year. $50,160 a year. Like $4,180 a month. Now, we talk about collecting Social Security on my channel and how it's possible to live on it with a part-time job or a side hustle, I call it. If you have no debt, that's the third equation. You don't work, you work part-time, you collect the free money, and you have no debt. At the point you reach 62, you have either very little or no debt. That's your goal. And then with the money that we just talked about, you're living high off the hog. You're living pretty darn good as the average American, because the average American, remember, average earner makes only 59, and the median household is 70. All right, and you're at 50. Okay, but you got no debt. The people that are working, generally, they still have a lot of debt, and they're paying off their assets, their cars, and maybe they're still raising their children or whatever they're doing. So they're making that extra money, which doesn't amount to anything. You're just, and I'm talking about a single person. I'm not talking about you and your wife on Social Security, or you and your husband, or you and anybody that you're in a collaboration with or a partnership with. I'm talking about a single person, man or woman. All right? Now get this. Here's something that we've never talked about before on my channel regarding the taxes and collecting Social Security. Because you do have to pay income taxes, even if you're on Social Security, if you make enough money. Because if you have that earnings limit, and, but what do we have? We have a standard deduction that went way up a few years ago during the Trump administration. It was changed and went from like $8,000 to $14,000. This year, when you do your taxes, if you don't itemize your taxes, you can take $13,850 right off your income. Right off your income. So that $50,000 that you're averaging with what I just talked about on Social Security, that brings you down to $28,870. Well, guess what? That tax bracket is only 12%. Okay? And if you're that median household income or that average earner of, what I say, it was 60 grand, and you took off the standard deduction, guess what? Your adjusted gross income is $51,150. Guess what percentage tax bracket that puts you in? Doubles almost. 22%. 22% tax bracket starts at $44,000 adjusted gross income. After you bring your income down all you can through itemization, through standard deduction, through anything you can do, you are 22% tax bracket starting at $44,000 all the way up to $95,000. So it literally goes from 12% from $11,000 to $44,000. So I would only be in a 12% tax bracket with an adjusted gross income on Social Security and earning the earnings limit and being at $28,870 after I took off the $13,850, whatever it is. Only a 12% tax bracket. But look how much it jumps, almost double to 22%. In fact, here's the bad news is when you go from 95, it's from 44,000 to 95,000, 22% tax bracket. From 95,000 to 182,000, the tax bracket only changes 2%. You go from 22 to 24. So you see how they get you? You're only 12% if you're down there in the low numbers. And most people, they can't live on that because they have a lot of debt. But if you're debt free and you're getting that free money on Social Security and you're just working 20, 25 hours a week, like falling out of bed to make that other $22,000, $23,000 earnings limit, you're still only in a 28% tax bracket of 12%. You're going to owe hardly anything. But the guy that is still working, that wants to keep working to get that $600 for 5 more years, making that 60 grand a year, 65, we're going to make it, remember I said early in the video, it's 60 for average earner, 70 for median household, So we're going to say 65,000, and that brings you down to 51,000. But you're in a 22% tax bracket. Not to mention you might have more debt. So 22% tax bracket. They jump that thing way up from $44,000, and then they don't even raise it but 2 more percent, all the way from 95,000 to 182,000. So, and very few people make that kind of money. A lot of people make more than that, but very few. The majority of the Americans are going to be in this, what we just said. So when you figure, if you kept working, my point is, if you keep working and you don't collect your Social Security at 62, and you keep making 65 grand a year, but you're in almost a double percentage tax bracket that a person making money but getting free money too, they're netting out, and not to mention the quality of life they have. I mean, they're going to work 2 or 3 days a week. You're going to work 40, 50 hours a week with all the travel time, going and coming, sitting in traffic, the cost of the maintenance and all the things we mentioned, clothing, everything that you need to pay to go to a job. Okay, where is this big giant? Where is this reason that you shouldn't quit that prison job and start living your life? The little you have left, you're already way past the halfway point. You're approaching the part where diseases and ailments and your gizzards and all these things start wearing out. What are you trying to do for $600? Are you just really just sitting there, just working this job and going to this place with these people, making this company rich that's paying you probably less than you're worth, wearing out your car, wearing out your body to make this, to hang on from getting, you can just, I met a guy the other day, I interviewed him. He started getting his Social Security, but he also does home improvement. And he knows a lot about stuff. And I know a lot of people do, a lot more than I do, about building and fixing things and plumbing or electrical or whatever, fixing cars, whatever. Maybe, you just have some skill that you could do, but when you're in your prison job, working that 40, 50 hours a week, and you got to be there early, you get off late, you got to get in the traffic, you got commute times. You could do a part-time job that you could do when you're 62, but you don't have time. And then you're going to be completely stressed out doing 2 jobs. So if you just quit at 62, and then you say, I'm going to follow my dream now, that plumbing work, that handyman work, those jobs that the ladies do and the men do. Ladies can do plumbing, electrical, and building houses too. We can all do it. I'm just saying, sewing, whatever it is that you have a skill that you can work for yourself, or you just don't want to do it. Maybe you want to pick up a job. Today I was in Walmart, my favorite place, and I saw a guy pushing one of those carts. He was stocking the shelves. He had 2 computers in front of him that told him where to go, what to put, and he had a little thing to check prices. Everything was all set up for him. It's all just, you just push the thing around, and he said he was making $15 an hour. He's in air conditioning. He's not got anybody looking over his shoulder. He's doing his own thing, or her, and he's making $15 an hour. So you can go to Target. I think they start you at $15 an hour. So you can make that $22,000, $23,000 earnings limit like falling out of bed. And he told me that in Walmart, if you want to work part-time, they'll work with you. Whatever, you want to work weekends, you only want to work Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you want to do early, you want to do late, you want to do middle of the day, they'll take you because they don't have to give you all those benefits. And that's with any job. So if you want to be a W-2 person and just still work, part-time like that, if you don't have your own skill and want to pursue your own self-employment, your entrepreneurial skills that you have, that you can do detailing cars. I mean, I got a lot of things I can do. All right. But anyway, let's get back to the numbers. So you stay working, you're making your 65 grand a year, you take your standard deduction, you owe a lot of taxes, and in the end, all right, okay, this is what I want to talk about now. This is the end of the video. So I earned $22,320 a year, $59,000 on my last year, when I become full retirement age. I collected $102,000 for 5 years from my check that was crystallized. I never got an increase. I collected $250,000, $250,800. The person that kept working for 65 grand a year, which is more than most people make, he works or she works for 4 years and collects $260,000. And then on the 5th year, draws their Social Security for the first year and collects $27,600 because they get $600 more. That's going to be their yearly income. And then they make that $59,000 because they're not any tax limit. They made another $87,000. Now they're made $347,000. They actually made $96,000 over the same 5 years, making 65 grand a year, as the person that quit in 62. That's a lot of money. That's actually $19,000 more a year. But wait a minute, hold the phone. It's only $14,000 more a year because that, remember, is an additional 12% taxes than the Social Security individual, because they were only in a 12% tax bracket. They got taxed, what's actually 10% more. So they really only netted 14 grand more. But to make that, they didn't get a chance to go take 40 weeks a year vacation. They got 1 or 2 weeks. They had to work all that time for 5 more years. They changed like the 12-year-old kid that changes from at the age 12 to 17, a completely different person. They changed from when they were 62 and said, I'm going to keep chugging along till I'm 67. Now all of a sudden, I waited for this extra $600. Now I don't want to do half the things I said I wanted to do when I was 62 and I could have retired. And I could have had my bucket list half checked off. Now I don't want to do anything, or a lot less, or I can't do anything because I got to go see the doctor every week because I got this new thing, or I had that stroke, or I got diabetes, or my hip doesn't work as good, or I can't, go hike up on the mountains, or, whatever. Your quality of life changes. Not to mention, if nothing else changed, your mind. And a lot of people too that keep working like that don't have the time to go to a gym because they're wore out from going to a job 40 hours a week. They ended up putting all these important things, and to make them happy because they get stressed out. A lot of people, and I'm guilty of it too. They eat for comfort food. Now here they are, 67, 100 pounds overweight. Their gizzards are wore out. They had a stroke. They got diabetes. They might have other diseases. They're on these prescriptions. They got all these things. Folks, it just isn't worth it. I mean, the math alone, by keep working like that, isn't even worth these. It isn't like you're making 100 grand more a year, or even 50 grand more a year. It's 19,000, but you're in a higher tax bracket, so you don't take home that. You take home like 14,000 of it. And, what is that, an extra grand a month that you owe in bills because you're not debt free? Get debt free, get your Social Security at 62, average 50 grand a year, live your life. I wouldn't change a thing. If I could roll the clock back, folks, I don't have 401, I don't have a pension. I work for myself all my life. I'm doing just fine, making a side hustle, and my free money, it comes in every month with no debt, and you can do it too. But the main thing is, I'm going to the gym all the time. I'm taking walks. I'm talking and praying to God all the time. I can read my Bible. I don't have any distractions saying, you don't have time to study the Word today. You got to get up and you got to get in that traffic. You're running late. The warden's waiting for you. Get to work. No, I have freedom. I have clutter-free. Don't watch the media. Stay away from that poison. Your mind is not a garbage can. Don't listen to that stuff. Get away from the gossip that's at those prison jobs too, and the stress that you get, and some egomaniac boss that's, got a point to prove. Folks, get out of debt. Live your life. Nobody's promised tomorrow. Yesterday's history. Today's the day to crush it.